And I always tell everybody, your success is our success. And it's true. Yeah. So within digital marketing, ATM Together was born January 2021. I was still a one-man team. Humble beginnings.
Right.
I'm sure you could resonate with
Oh,
me.
absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
But also having my family doubt me. My family consistently calling me saying, don't do it. Wow. Even when I put in my 2 weeks, every single day my mom will call me. Are you sure? Wow. Are you sure? Wow. Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Don't do this. Don't do this. Because once you're the biggest guy in the room or biggest gal in the room, guess what? You outgrown the circle. Yeah, and you have to go find new rooms. So essentially that's what my mindset was.
Yeah. Hey, wait. I know you want to watch this next video, but listen, if you are an entrepreneur, business coach, business consultant, or a small business owner who has a story and wants to learn how to create multiple streams of income from your story, I need you to text me right now, my book, to 646-687-4152. That is my personal number. I have been an author for over 12 years. I've written 10 books. 4 of them have been bestsellers, and I've sold over 100,000 books. But I've also helped a lot of my clients take their expertise and put it into a story, then create multiple streams of income from that. So I want to help you do the same thing. So text my book to 646-687-4152. All right, let's go back to the video. All right, so welcome to another awesome episode of Inside the Vault with Ash Cash, the greatest money mindset show on the planet. Listen, as of 2020, the global ATM market size grew up to $20 billion. That's billion with a B. And the number of automated teller machines across the globe remains stable at 41.24 machines per 100,000 people in 2020. But listen to this. By 2026, the ATM market is predicted to reach $28.82 billion. This is clearly a business we should all be looking into. Our next guest is a former detective in law enforcement that discovered the power of digital marketing when he got into the ATM industry and decided to help thousands of aspiring entrepreneurs by building their ATM businesses nationwide in the United States. He has been able to grow his business to $15 million in revenue since launching in 2021. Now he runs a multi-million-dollar digital business focusing on building ATM businesses nationwide and currently owns the largest ATM business Facebook group called the ATM Business for Beginners with an excess of 60,000 members. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for my guy, Paul Alex. What's up, brother?
Ash, how you doing, man? Man, what an intro, man. I love the energy, dude. I love the energy.
You, brother. I think that, what we try to do on Inside the Vault is really bring different ways that people could build wealth, specifically entrepreneurs, people who work 9 to 5, those who are finding ways. We're all realizing that abundance is our birthright, and everybody deserves wealth. And so a lot of us, wealth was something that wasn't in our household and we didn't know about it. And so it's like, how do we participate in some of these lucrative businesses? That's why, when we connected, I said, oh, nah, we have to have you on the show because that's something that, we don't talk about, ATM businesses, right? So we're going to get into all of that. But before we start, for those who don't know, who is Paul Alex?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the intro, man. Once again, but I come from a law enforcement background. I come from the 9 to 5. I come from an American immigrant family. Humble beginnings, man. Yeah. I wasn't born with parents that were wealthy. Yeah. I come from a household where I didn't have financial literacy being taught to me at an early age. I had to actually learn all of this as I was growing up in life, man. And I started working since the age of 15 and a half. Wow. But to get started within my full-time entrepreneurship with ATMs, okay, I was 7 years in law enforcement. I basically, what I always like to say, I was voluntold to go into like investigations or whatnot. My second year as being a beat cop, I was very about helping people. I've always pictured myself being a provider, being a giver, giving back to the community. That's just the type of mindset and heart that I have as a person. I mean, I'm a giver, man. You ask anybody from my family, my friends, man, that's just the way I roll. I want my circle to win. So with that being said, I got into investigations, did almost every single unit you could think of in law enforcement. Gang unit. I was part of an undercover narcotics task force. Think about 21 Jump Street, man. Basically, I show up to like an abandoned building at a church. They're like, hey, this is day one. And I'm like, what are we doing? we about to raid 21 houses. Wow. I'm so serious. Did that for 3.5 years and then went to special victims unit. Worked with children. I mean, did it absolute everything you can think of. But eventually, I was working 60 to 100-hour work weeks, man. And essentially, I followed the footsteps of what my mom told me, because I love my mom. I love my mom. She raised me as a single mother when I was growing up. Me and my two sisters, they're all in the medical field. They try to get me to be a nurse. I hate needles. I couldn't do it, man, so I was a black sheep, you know? Right. I got into law enforcement. Well, before that, I did an assortment of things, but I was a nightclub promoter. I got into corporate America, did sales, did a sales manager, got into law enforcement, was a detective, and now I'm a full-time entrepreneur. Wow. So when I tell anybody that you could literally do anything that you put your mind to, you really can. You know, I never thought I was going to be in law enforcement. But within the last 2 years of being a detective, I saw that I was working so much that at that time I was at the age of 29. And at the age of 29, hey, it's true what your parents tell you. Everything slows down as you get older. But you don't realize that. In your 20s, you have so much energy. You remember the times that, I mean, I don't know if you went out in your 20s, man, but nightclub promoter, dude, I didn't sleep.
Right, facts.
You know, I'd go out, party for all night, come back, sleep for 3 hours, and then go work my 9 to 5, and I do it all over again. You know, not a problem. Nowadays, I got to be in bed by 8, man.
Knocked out.
Knocked out, really. Like, otherwise I can't function the next day. And that's just what it is. As you get older, you start realizing your body's not the same anymore. So as I was doing that profession, okay, physically, mentally, spiritually, I was just getting broken down, man. And quickly, okay? So I couldn't see myself being there for 25 years. And it got to the point where now it wasn't even enjoyable, or that fulfillment that I initially had going to that 9 to 5. I thought I found like the career that I wanted to be. I envisioned myself being a captain of police. I envisioned myself being a lieutenant, a sergeant, being a mentor to these younger officers, learning how to communicate to the community and be able to relate to the people. But at the end of the day, man, that all changed when the dynamic of my environment was just toxic. You know, everybody was just like, well, you know, you want to go buy that car, go work another 20 hours a week. I'm like, dude, I already worked 60 hours, you know? And I come from the Bay Area. The Bay Area is in Northern California near San Francisco. And it's so expensive. I mean, $1 million house, man, it gives you a shack. You know, it's crazy. We were just talking about, you know, New York and Atlanta and Florida, you know, why people move to different states and cities because the cost of living. You know, you get more for your money. And essentially, all my family is based in California. I was born and raised there. And I can't be away from my mom, man. My mom is everything. So I was just like, you know what, I'm going to stay here for you, for my friends, for everybody. That's just what I know. So essentially, I found an opportunity from a coworker. The coworker was actually researching this for years. Got stuck on analysis paralysis, which happens to a ton of entrepreneurs, which I started talking to thousands of entrepreneurs since I got into digital marketing. And come to find out, I had to do with ATMs. Never knew about ATMs. This was back in 2017, going into 2018. I was already in law enforcement for quite a bit. And due diligence, read a couple books, YouTube. I wasn't on social media since MySpace. I know I'm aging myself, but it is what it is. I'm just telling you what it is, man. I wasn't on social media for close to 8 years.
Wow.
It was so bad. I remember I was going out on a date and the girl was like, hey, what's your IG? I was like, what's IG? And she's like, Instagram. And I was just like, I don't have one. She's like, are you weird?
Wow.
I was just like, yeah, literally call me out on the date. I was like, no, I just don't have one. And it's just because, you know, I'm not into social media like that. She's like, everybody has social media. You know, that's how you exchange contact information nowadays. And it is true.
That's how it is.
You know, nowadays in 2023.
Like, yo, what's your IG?
Exactly, man. What's your IG instead of your phone number?
Right.
I'm still old school, man. I still like talking to people on the phone like this. That's just not the way I'm social. So then go on there, join a ton of Facebook groups. And I know it sounds, I'm sounding old school right now, but Facebook groups work, man. Essentially, free communities where they put like-minded individuals, just like you and I, and we are an expert in our niche. So that's why I love the Facebook community, those Facebook groups. You get to talk to people that are into what you're into. So after researching, I went and I actually bought 6 ATMs. I was able to buy 6 ATMs. Each ATM at that time, this was back in, I'm going to say roughly the end of 2018, 2019, they were going for $2,100 an ATM.
So an ATM for $2,100.
$2,100.
Wow.
When you think about it, when you start any business, any franchise,
Right.
McDonald's, for example, how much are your initial startup costs?
I mean, you're thinking millions of dollars, $100 at least.
A
right?
minimum of $250,000.
Of course.
A minimum, right?
Yep.
And you're not even counting running expenses, operating expenses, all that jazz, employees.
Yep.
It's a lot of pressure, man.
Yep.
And very, very low net profitability.
Yep.
So with ATMs, I saw this as opportunity because number one, it was simple.
Yep.
Number two, I straight up tell everybody like this. Yeah, nowadays I might be like a multimillionaire, but back then I wasn't.
Yeah.
And then also, I just didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I wasn't raised into a wealthy family. I come, like I said, from an immigrant American family. My mom, she's from Peru. Peru's in South America. She migrated over here, was a housekeeper, then studied, learned English, and then finally got into the medical field, which then my sisters adapted to, right? Because essentially, if your parents teach you like, hey, your dad's, let's say, a cop.
Right.
Guess what the sons are going to be? More than likely, they're going to be law enforcement.
100%.
And that's just what it was, right?
Yeah.
So, and then my dad, Mexican. My dad came from Mexico, construction worker, and then he started doing his own entrepreneurship thing. So that's where the entrepreneurship mindset actually got into play because he started doing his own restaurants. He owned several taquerias. And then ultimately, they ended up separating, okay? So from there, I went and I installed 6 ATMs. The startup was pretty simple. Bought the ATMs at $2,100 a pop. I put roughly about $2,000 to $3,000 inside of each ATM to have withdrawal. So whenever a client comes and actually uses your machine at the location, they're withdrawing your actual personal cash.
Right.
So you can actually say you're the bank. And then from there, you connect with a company who provides you the processing network. What the processing network is essentially it's a network just like a cell phone where it actually facilitates the transactions from the ATM to the banking network to your actual business banking account. So whenever your ATM runs empty, okay, not only is the processing network going to refund your initial startup cash, the $2,000 to $3,000, but also the fees. So that's all your profitability right there.
Got you.
Very simple business.
So just to understand, right? $2,100 for the ATM. You put $3,000 into it. You're connected to a network. Every time somebody takes money out, it gives them the money plus it's going to charge them whatever the ATM fee is.
Usually around $3.
Like $3. And so now once that $3,000 runs out, this network gives you your $3,000 and then gives you also the fees, the $3 every time somebody used it, minus some fee, right? Because they're going to be, they charge a fee for the service, right?
This is a great point.
Yeah.
I didn't know any better in the beginning. So I signed up with a major ATM corporation that actually gave me a pretty bad deal. They were taking roughly about 20 to, I believe it was like 25% of my surcharge profits. So that $3, they were taking roughly about 25% of those profits, and they were keeping it for letting me use their network, okay? Nowadays, almost everybody provides that network for free.
Wow.
Not only that, but for anyone that's watching this right now, you can go ahead, and I always tell everybody, do your due diligence.
Yeah.
It's a business, no matter how small it is. Go and get 3 bids. Get 3 bids. Get 3 pricing for your ATM. Get pricing for the network, and see who you actually vibe with the best. Because essentially, if they're treating you right up front, they're providing great customer service. Essentially, that's the company you want to go with. Because if they're being dismissive, or let's say they're not giving you the best deal, guess what's going to happen once you start doing business with them?
They're going to act the same.
Headaches, and even worse, right? So essentially, from there, I got tied into a 3-year contract with that company. I paid $7,000 my first year to get out of the contract. I hired a mentor. From the 6 ATMs, within 18 months, I went up to 30 ATMs, which generated me close to $10,000 to $12,000 in residual passive income.
Wow.
Now, how much time was I actually using to actually make this money?
Right.
This was covering my bills. This was almost making equivalent to what I was doing at the police force at the time. So essentially, I was financially free when you think about that, right?
Yeah.
Now, all the cash flow.
Passively, though, too.
Passively,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I would put in about 3 hours of work a month just to load up the machines. Wow. Very simple business.
Yeah.
Anyone can do it. This is why right now the clients that I have at this stage of the game is lawyers, doctors, federal judges, cops, firefighters.
Yeah.
I even got some artists, man. We just got even podcasters.
Wow.
We got everybody on the game. And this is
Yeah.
just additional income because you have to diversify your assets,
Absolutely.
man.
Yeah.
And think of ATMs like this. It's a floating asset. You know why? Because if the location doesn't work out, if it doesn't have high foot traffic, if you're not making money in there, it's not like real estate. You could pick up a whole house and move it, right?
You cannot, right.
For ATM, it's just 4 bolts, boom, move it to a new location. Now you're cash flowing.
Wow.
So it's amazing.
Wow. And then so how did you scale now, right? So you started with 6 ATMs, you go to 30 ATMs, and then you grow this to a $15 million enterprise. How did you do that?
It's a very unique story.
Yeah.
So I always tell people, whoever you follow, whether it's a mentor, whether it is a business owner, whether it's someone that you want to be like at the level of success they're at right now, see what they have actually done in that niche or industry. Now, you could go ahead, and the fastest way to actually get to success or the level of success that you want in life is just to copy someone who's already successful.
That's it, absolutely.
If I wanted, just like we were talking about your book, man, I want to pick your brain because I'm already thinking of doing that next month.
Yep.
You know, it's been a minute that I've been in full-time entrepreneurship. I've done quite few accomplishments, and now I think people need to hear my story, right?
Yeah.
So, hey, who's a better person to come?
Absolutely.
Right, Ash?
100%.
You've done quite a few books, man.
Yeah.
You know, you're publishing, you're doing all that jazz, so you're the perfect fit.
Yep.
With that being said, I go ahead and I jump on Facebook. Like I said, I was doing the Facebook groups. So I'm talking to one of my buddies, and he's just like, dude, you should just leave law enforcement and grow your ATM business. I was like, yeah, you're right. I should. But I just jumped online. And you know what's so different? Because I come from MySpace era.
Yeah.
I know I'm aging myself, okay?
Right.
But I come from MySpace era where they weren't promoting programs, mentorships.
Yep.
They weren't showcasing business owners.
Yep.
And if there was influencers, if there was business owners, they weren't talking about their business.
Right.
So now, from like 2017 to about where we're at right now, 2023, and I'm pretty sure it's going to go on forever, you have access to multi-millionaires, billionaires, Elon Musk doing tweets, and he could reply to you. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I can only imagine. Can you only imagine if we had access to this when we were growing up?
I agree.
Dude, we probably wouldn't be sitting here.
I agree, 100%.
We probably have our own islands over here, like.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's a good point though, because I remember the MySpace days, and those are really like young people partying, like no professionals on there at all.
So I'm going to tell you something, and this comes with being part of your environment. So at that time, MySpace was available.
Yeah.
I was 18 years old. I had just freshly became a nightclub promoter. I was already doing HTML flyers on people's pages.
Yeah.
I was getting people's phone numbers through little widgets for my phone list so I could hit them up on my parties. This is why I was able to get 1,500 people on a Friday night to fill up the whole club.
Wow.
But I didn't know any better. See, if I would have had a mentor back then to tell me like, Paul, keep growing, you go into digital, go into the tech world, or go and just focus on digital marketing, I'd be a monster,
Right, 100%.
You know?
100%, yeah.
But to get back to how the transition of having my own tangible ATM business to now ATM Together, which is this massive monster online regarding the ATM industry, is essentially Facebook overheard me talk about potentially building a program. And I was just like, you know what? I have some success in building my own tangible ATM business. It made me financially free.
Right.
At that time, I was still in law enforcement. I was just like, why don't I just do this? This is just like diversifying my money, and the ATM business is not taking a lot of my money, a lot of my time.
Right.
So then, essentially, I had a friend. You always have that one good friend, man, out of everybody. And he's just like, just do it, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you're smart. You're capable. So I buy a book. I start with a book, and I always tell everybody, when you want to invest into yourself, you don't have to invest tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
It can literally start with a $5 book.
Absolutely.
And that's what I did. I bought a $5 book that taught me the basics of digital marketing, the foundations, just basically almost like, ClickFunnels, Russell Brunson,
Yep.
original OG books.
Yep.
And read it. It was so captivating, the story, right? It was story-based. And it was a book funnel. I ended up jumping on a call with a sales guy. $10,000 later, I ended up buying a program, my first program.
Yeah.
And I told him, still remember, he asked me, Paul, what are you going to focus on online? Like, what are you going to teach people? And I was just like, well, I'm only successful in two things, because I'm not the smartest person in the world. Is number one, I'm pretty decent in law enforcement. You know, I've moved up the ranks. I could be a sergeant. You know, I'm a leader and all this jazz. And then the second thing is ATMs.
Right.
And he laughed. He's like, ATMs? He's like, what are you talking about?
Right.
I was just like, yeah, I'm actually cash flowing about like 10, 12K, man, in residuals every single month, and I don't barely work for it. And he's just like, what? He's like, double down on that.
That's the one.
That's the one.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And I was just like, hey, potentially, how much do you think I can make from like doing this program with you guys and actually learning how to implement and actually sell a program to help people, provide value, and get them to start their ATM business? He's like, I'm telling you right now. He's like, there are guys making $150,000 a month. And I didn't believe him.
Right.
At the time, it was limiting beliefs. Right? Because what you don't know is what you don't know.
What you don't know, yeah.
Exactly, right? And it's also about who's part of your environment. Everybody in my environment, right? When I started the ATM business, my mom bashed it.
Right.
My stepdad bashed it. My girl at the time bashed it. She actually clowned me. She was just like, you're a detective.
Wow.
What are you doing?
Wow.
Like, you playing around with ATMs.
Yeah.
I was just like, what? You know, like, it wasn't like my ultimate dream, but at the end of the day, it just made sense.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I could cash flow this. It makes sense, right? Why not? It's a boring business.
Yeah.
And so then when that worked out, everybody's okay, you got lucky. You got lucky, your little business, right?
Yeah.
They always like to downplay and call it your little business.
Yeah.
And then when I got into digital marketing, same exact thing.
Yeah.
On my time off, I would actually stay at the office late night, and I was off the clock. I was just looking at the program, going through the videos. It had to be over like 100 hours of videos just educating me on digital marketing because I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
I still at the time didn't have an IG, and I just had Facebook.
Right.
And I'm talking about when I started building like my funnels, my websites. They were ugly, bro. They were not beautiful at all.
Yeah.
It was just a picture of me literally holding a blank piece of paper saying, I can help you start the ATM business.
Yeah.
Literally. And I was just like, this is sad. Now that I look at it, I'm like, damn, but humble beginnings.
Right.
Humble beginnings, right? Who would have known?
Right.
So then I built that, and I just start investing more and more in myself. And the reason why is because little breadcrumbs started coming to me. And what do I mean by that? The first 3 months I started digital marketing. It was roughly in April of 2020. By September of 2020, my first month I have hit, actually after releasing my program, $3,000.
Wow. Okay.
I'm like, okay, this is good money. But
yeah.
I'm seeing, consultants online saying, I could show you how to make $500,000 a month.
Right.
Just buy this course for whatever. I'm like, I wonder if these guys are telling the truth or like if they're really doing it, right? So then push it to the limit, man. During this time, COVID happens. So I think it was just like
The perfect storm.
the
almost.
perfect storm because when you think about it, the pandemic changed everyone's lives.
Absolutely, yeah.
Dude, it bumped up different businesses like food application businesses, Uber Eats, all that jazz. Now people don't even want to go out to eat at restaurants.
Yeah.
Now when you go to the nightclub scene, people don't even want to go out no more. They'd rather just go on dating apps or whatnot, right? The world is different. So you have to adapt with the times, right? So as I saw that more and more, I focused, I doubled down, and I'm like, what is the void? What is the void in the ATM industry that's missing right now? Because you had a lot of, how you could say, Indians in these Facebook group that were trying to go ahead and basically take a prospect and be like, here, buy from me. But you didn't have a chief.
Right.
You didn't have a chief that was just like, hey, I'm actually going to provide you the value.
Right.
And if you want to be my mentee or you want to buy my program, go ahead. Right? So essentially, I went with that mindset of providing value.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Yeah.
And that's how ATM Business for Beginners started. Because I went on these other Facebook groups. I would drop free knowledge. These OGs, and not to bash no one, but these OGs would be like, hey, what are you doing? Why are you providing all these free information? What's the catch?
Right.
You're messing up our businesses.
Right.
And I'm like, dude, it's savage out here.
And these are other people who had ATM businesses?
Yes.
Wow.
These were people that were actually, they had connections
Right.
with ISO. So these are independent sales organizations that basically provide you the processing network.
Right.
And then they also can provide you with the actual machines.
Okay.
So essentially they were doing similar to what we do.
Yeah.
But we basically now, what we have done, and the void was, we basically provide anyone a business in a box with results,
Yeah.
with guarantees,
Yeah.
with the customer support. Right now, my organization has over 40 employees
Wow.
since it started in January of 2021. And mainly, majority of those employees is to cover the customer service and the fulfillment.
Right.
Because the value is everything.
Yeah.
And I always tell everybody, your success is our success. And it's true.
Yeah.
So within digital marketing, ATM Together was born January 2021. I was still a one-man team. Humble beginnings.
Right.
I'm sure you could resonate with
Oh,
me.
absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
I'm about 70K into programs at this time. Okay, from
And
the
this is
10K,
70K you've invested.
70K I've invested, credit card debt,
Yep.
my own money. I
Yep.
worked an additional 40 hours of overtime as a detective, and I was taking the residuals from my actual ATMs and reinvesting it into digital marketing.
Wow.
So I was going all in, man, because it started growing a little by little. By March of 2021, I had revised and refined my offer, where we provide you with the location, the machine, the processing, actual real life mentors, weekly clinics, customer service 24/7, absolutely everything where you don't have to even think about the business. And by March of 2021, the business grew to $130,000.
Wow.
I was a one-man team
Wow. 130,000 per month.
per month.
Wow.
That was in March.
Wow.
What it took to get there, it took 6 months of me waking up at 3 a.m. in the morning, because a lot of my clients were actually in New York. They were actually in the East Coast. So guess what? 3-hour
They
time
up
difference.
3 hour difference. Yeah.
3-hour
wow,
time.
wow.
People were getting up at 6 a.m., man.
Yep,
And they were like, hey, we're going to do these calls before I go to work. I'm not going to say no.
Right.
Obviously, I'm the one trying to, provide them the value
Yeah.
so they can see to enroll. So then essentially I would wake up at 3 a.m. My actual shift at my 9 to 5 as a detective would start at 2. I was working swing shift.
Wow.
Okay, it would start at 2 p.m. So I would be taking consultation calls, handling all of the marketing, write my own copy. And essentially, I am going to give kudos to my profession, because I had to write very detailed reports. And copy with marketing is everything.
Absolutely.
Because
That's
people
totally great.
people can see themselves,
Yeah.
and you can really build foundation with people with using words.
Yeah.
Words are so powerful,
Absolutely.
man. That's why I'm a fan, dude. Like
Yeah.
you got so many books. I'm like a smart man, because you're doing it right. So with that, I hired my first consultant, started building my team. That one friend who told me go all in at work.
Yeah.
He was actually the youngest sergeant of police for the department.
Wow.
And I had told him what had happened. And I was just like, dude, like, this is going on. The digital business is growing. It's crazy. Thank you for the push. And he's just like, get out of here. He's like, get out of here, bro.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? It's just like you basically made your flat salary
Right.
on
Passively.
a month.
Right.
From digital, from ATMs and all that jazz.
Right.
What are you still doing here? You're wasting time.
Yeah.
So it was the most uncomfortable and nervous time of my life,
Yeah.
leaving a secure job with benefits.
Yeah.
And also, not only that, but also having my family doubt me. My family consistently calling me saying, don't do it.
Wow.
Even when I'm putting my 2 weeks, every single day my mom will call me. Are you sure?
Wow.
Are you sure?
Wow.
Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Don't do this. Don't do that. Like, so I can relate to a ton of people that are probably going to listen to this or
Yeah.
watch this. And you're probably going to get your family, your friends to be like, you can't do it. But what I can tell you right now is that it's you versus you.
Right.
it's all in your mind.
Right.
It's not as bad as it is. Right. It's just you put yourself in this situation and you're thinking of roadblocks that's stopping you from success. Right. And that's all it was. I was already making it happen, man. Yeah. All I was doing is just waking up extra early before my shift, working on my business every day consistently for 6 months. And I created a second stream of income through digital marketing. Right. And then once I left, I was just like, you know what? I need to get uncomfortable. For the first time, I moved out of the Bay Area. Born and raised there. Didn't move out of the Bay Area until, I believe, the age of 32. Wow. I'm 35 now. So age of 32, moved to San Diego. New environment. I wanted to be next to the beach. Yeah. I just wanted to get inspired. Yeah. I needed the environment to inspire me. Yeah. I wanted to be around people that actually did a lot better than me. Because once you're the biggest guy in the room or biggest gal in the room, guess what? You outgrown the circle. And you have to go find new rooms. So essentially, that's what my mindset was. Yeah. And I wouldn't even have started thinking like this because my transformation of my mindset grows every year, every month as an entrepreneur. But the only reason why I'm able to think at this time with this level of thought process is because I invested in myself. Yeah. And I got access to multimillionaires that were a lot more successful than me. And they would explain these things to me. They would tell me, like, Paul, like, if you're staying there and you're comfortable, guess what's going to happen? You're going to let your foot off the gas. Absolutely. And that 130K is going to dwindle down. Absolutely. And you're going to get down to 50, 30, 10, and you're going to be like, what happened? Yeah. You're going to be trying these new things. If it's working, double down. Exactly. Delegate, get employees, and just go move somewhere where you can focus. Yeah. And that's ultimately what it comes down to, Ash, is the focus. Yeah. So first year, 1.7. Second year, 2022, 7 million within the year. Wow. This year, we're already on track, I believe, for a $23 million year. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Because that first offer, all it did was start the creative and innovating thought process. So we started expanding into different offers within the company. Yeah. And now we're into Bitcoin ATMs, which is the future. And
that's what I want. I'm glad you pivoted there because when I think about the ATM business, I'm actually seeing reverse ATMs. Yeah. Where
New York,
right? They're actually like you go to an ATM and instead of asking for cash, it's asking for your cash. Yeah. You put the cash in and it's giving you a debit card. Yes. Right? Because they want to take the cash supplies out. And so that was going to be my question, like with no one really using cash. Everybody got Cash App, everybody got cards, everybody got, Apple Pay, like everything is becoming digital, how lucrative, but I mean, the stats show that the ATM business is still by 2026 going to grow, at least by $8 more billion. Yeah. But long term, what the viability of cash ATMs are, but you're saying Bitcoin ATMs. Talk to us about that.
So it's a mixture of both. So just to give you clarity on the cash ATMs. Yeah. Cash is not going to be going away in our lifetime. And the reason why is because cash ATMs, it's all behind strategy. It's about placement. So essentially, there is about 25% of people that live in the United States. Now, I come from an immigrant family, okay? Some of my family members were undocumented for a very long time. So essentially, they didn't have access to the bank account system. They didn't have access to credit cards. They didn't have access to debit cards. Right. So what else are they going to be using for currency? Right. Cash. Right, absolutely. And that's still going very strong till this day, man. Yeah. I mean, we have thousands, hundreds of thousands of people crossing the border, getting in here illegally, and they need to be provided a currency. Yeah. They're working under the table at these restaurants. They're not going to pay them with credit. Right. They're not going to pay them with that. Right. Nobody thinks about that. Right.
And it's funny you say that because I was a banker, right? So my background's from banking. So I used to work as a banker for 15 years, teller, personal banker, private bank. I was a CEO of a credit union. And one of the biggest things that we talked about in the bank was how many unbanked people there were in the United States.
It's crazy.
Right.
It's insane.
Yeah.
So they are, I mean, I know it sounds bad, but it's the truth. And I run off transparency, man. I just like to keep it real. I'm a straight shooter.
Yes, sir.
And that's why a lot of my clients, a lot of my avatar, my audience, they like me.
Yeah.
Because I keep it real, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a 9-to-5er.
Right.
I don't come from wealth.
Right.
I'm self-made.
Right.
I'm still learning as I go.
Right.
You know, I have goals and aspirations of being bigger than what I am right now.
Absolutely.
So everybody can relate to my story
Right.
at a certain point.
100%. Yeah.
But yeah, it's true. No one talks about low income neighborhoods.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Who do you think are living in the low income neighborhoods?
Yeah.
Immigrants.
Right.
Undocumented people.
Right.
People that can't get a bank account.
Absolutely.
People that can't get a debit card. People that
Right.
can't get a credit card. So
Right.
guess what they're going to be going to?
Yeah.
The local ATM, at the liquor store,
exactly.
at the bodega.
Right.
You know?
And even those who have like even Cash App, like, you're gonna have to have a phone, you're gonna have to have service. Like, there's still some barrier entries there,
And now with phones, they run your credit.
Right.
It's like they never used to do that before.
Right.
Now they do it just to do it to see if you qualify for one of their different offers.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
essentially, there's a lot of people that have still throwaway phones.
Yep,
You know,
exactly.
my friends like to call it trap phones.
Trap-
You know?
right,
Use the trap phone, the burners,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Nextel. Now
Yeah.
I'm really aging
Yeah,
myself.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, man. So
Yeah.
people don't think about that. Roughly 25% of people that live in the United States, they need the cash.
Right.
So that's the avatar. That's the avatar for cash ATMs.
Yeah.
So essentially, that's why I'm saying cash is not going away.
not going
As
anywhere.
much as people want to say that, and as
Yeah.
much as certain people that say, well, I never use cash.
Right.
Well, essentially because you don't use cash doesn't mean the
that-
rest of the world doesn't.
Right.
That's just the way I see it.
And the truth is, like, there's so many people who have to continue to have cash.
They have to.
Yeah.
It's essentially like, okay, what's the point of buses if there's Uber?
Right. That's true.
Come on, man.
Yeah,
you
that's
got to
true.
think
That's
about
true.
this thing. You got to open
Absolutely.
people's eyes. And that's what I tell
Absolutely.
people. It's just a simple conversation.
Yeah.
Typically, there's not someone that they talk to that's been in the industry
Yeah.
like me,
Yeah.
or they'll talk to their friend, of course, that's a dead business. Well,
Yeah.
let me ask you, well, how long have you been in the business?
Yeah.
I haven't. So how would you know that information?
Right.
You know, that's why I like to go to the experts. I like to go and do my due diligence. I like to go do my research,
Right.
buy books, educate yourself. It's an investment.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, this is what I am going to tell you. When you compare it to real estate, okay, and I love real estate.
Yeah.
You know, I've been buying real estate since the age of 22, man.
Wow.
And with me, real estate is to keep your money. Okay, so it's not how much you make; it's how much you keep.
Absolutely.
Right. So with real estate, you know, your assets could go up in value.
Yeah.
You can store it, and then you can always pull it out.
Yeah.
And with real estate, it always goes up.
Yep.
Traditionally, it always goes up. You
Absolutely,
just
yeah.
got to go through the waves, the hard waters, right?
Yeah.
But what I can tell you with rental properties, okay, you're investing what, 20, 30, 50K, right, for that 20%. Maybe that 3.5% depending on what size property you're buying, right? Atlanta, you could get mansions out here for
Right.
like, you know,
What is it?
for a nice amount.
Yeah.
But you're investing that money, and now what? What cash flow do you have coming in? $300,
Right.
$500,
Right.
and now think how passive that is. Are you having the tenants? You're gonna have to deal with tenants. You have to deal with collecting rent.
Right.
You have to deal with fixing the appliances,
Right,
all
right,
that jazz,
right,
right?
right.
Folks don't take accountability for that. Now, you can invest less than $8,000 inside a floating asset like an ATM with the cash inside, and you can make $200 to $1,000 per month depending on the location.
Yeah.
Think about
yeah.
that. The risk versus reward.
Yeah.
The reward is extremely high
Yeah.
investing into a traditional cash ATM than investing into any investment that I've ever seen in the market.
Wow.
And I've invested in quite a few.
Right.
I've lost quite a few. I mean, that's just what it is.
Right.
You know?
Wow.
But BTMs, Ash, okay? So with BTMs, it's
And so Bitcoin teller machines.
Bitcoin teller machines. It's not a brand new investment.
Okay.
This started back in 2018, essentially where the first bull run happened with crypto. When Bitcoin was going to the moon, Elon Musk was talking about Dogecoin, and they were like, oh, everybody's gonna be millionaires, and there was a lot of millionaires made with crypto, right? But essentially, I think what scares a lot of people once you hear the word crypto, and it even scared me, to be
Right,
honest with you, I'm
right.
gonna be real. It scared me is the fact that it's a roller coaster. It's an emotional roller coaster, man.
Yeah.
Because if you put the money in there, you can't see it.
Yeah.
You can't watch
exactly. If you watch it, you'll have a heart attack.
Exactly. One day it's going to be up, another day it's going to be low.
Yeah.
That's just the way Bitcoin is.
Yeah.
Essentially, the good thing with these BTMs, okay, think of money service businesses like Western Union, MoneyGram, people actually transmitting money to other countries for their families.
Right.
I have a ton of family in Peru. I have a ton of family in Mexico.
Yeah.
I used to use Western Union, pay their heavy fees to transfer $1,000 to my grandma, right? Yeah. Now, they have BTMs in every other country. We're actually the last country to actually get BTMs.
Wow.
So essentially, they have it in South America, they have it everywhere. So now, let's say if I want to send my grandma $1,000, all I got to do is just text her the actual crypto wallet, which is a barcode.
Right.
It's a barcode just like I used to get into this building, right? She gets in her phone. Now, I can actually physically put cash inside this Bitcoin machine.
Wow.
And she gets it instantly.
Wow.
So, what is the incentive for the owner of that Bitcoin
Absolutely.
ATM?
Yeah.
Here's a great part.
That's a thought.
10%. So imagine a Bitcoin's $30,000. What's 10% of $30,000?
3,000.
Exactly.
Yeah.
$3,000 because you're basically brokering the deal. We charge because we do basically everything. Business in a box. We provide you the machine. We provide you the armored vehicle service that's going to load it with the cash. We actually pay for the crypto.
Wow.
So you don't even got to come out of pocket for that. You're just paying for the initial machine and the setup. That's it.
Wow.
So you're a passive investor. And the great thing about this is we already have over 300 clients that have invested since December.
Wow.
Right now, the way the crypto market is looking, it's gonna skyrocket to the 50s, the $60,000 mark. And once it does, guess what? One transaction, $6,000 net profit. Yeah. Who's gonna complain about that? No one. You're a broker. That's what it is. But I always tell people, do your due diligence. This is why I like to provide value. I don't want to come off salesy. I actually provide a lot of insightful educational videos on my website, atmtogether.com.
Right. Man, so just to unpack that, right? Because I think that, before I ask, because we asked, like, so what's your thoughts on crypto and Bitcoin? Like, is Bitcoin going to 100,000? Like, I know that's the thought process. Like, is Bitcoin, like, is that here to stay?
My thing is Bitcoin's here to stay.
Yeah.
It is a very safe crypto to buy. I would never invest into Dogecoin, those meme coins. That a ton of people did, unfortunately.
Right.
You know, that dude, I was seeing posts online, people investing $100,000, $1 million into, Dogecoin. They're like, I'm gonna be a billionaire. And essentially they're a billionaire for a day, and then it all comes crashing down. You want to go for what is sustainable. Bitcoin, Ethereum, they're sustainable. When you look at everything that's happening with the government right now, and the government talking about FedCoin, starting their own digital currency. That's a pretty good sign of where we're going, man. So essentially, I'm not saying that because the Fed coin is going to happen and all that jazz, that cash is going to go away. No, it's going to take years. I'm talking about, it's not going to happen in our lifetime. I'm currently 35. I'm telling you right now, it's not. It's a big transition to get rid of cash right now, because ultimately there's so many people in the States that need it. But then also think about the Bitcoin ATM industry. This is like investing in ATMs 15 years ago. If you invest now, guess what? 3 years from now, 4 years from now, when the next bull run happens, you're gonna be like, yes. I'm thankful I listened to that podcast with Ash Cash and Paul Alex. So.
And so with Bitcoin, with the BTM machines, right? Because you said something that I wanted to just be clear on. If somebody is investing in getting a Bitcoin machine, it's not, they don't even need the money, right? Because it's Bitcoin business in a box. They buy it, right? And essentially, you become the bank. So the money that the money that the people are withdrawing from that Bitcoin machine is not essentially money that the operator has to have. It's coming from you. And then what is it? Because of that, there's a split on the fees.
We're business partners. So essentially, the buyer who is buying the crypto,
that's good.
they get charged 15%. Now, probably going to get a lot of people that are crypto enthusiasts hearing this. They're going to be like, well, that's BS. They could go online and get charged, 3-5%.
Right.
Here's the thing. BlockFi, FTX. If you're familiar with this, okay, it went down, online exchange went down with a whole lot of money. A whole lot of money that people couldn't afford to lose.
Right.
So what happens when you buy crypto in an online exchange is that it gets stuck within a week and a half. BTM's is instant. Wow. You get your money right there. You put it in, you get it right there into your crypto wallet. Wow. Now, you as the investor, you are essentially a broker. Okay, you're investing into a business opportunity where we're going to provide you a business in a box, but we're the management team. It's equivalent to buying a rental property at a different state and then hiring a management company. And the incentive for us is we don't make money up front. We don't make money off of selling you a business in a box. We make money off of the commissions. So we're incentivized to market to the audience to go and use your BTM. Wow. It's all pushed through SEO and Google, man. That's the biggest difference between cash ATMs and BTMs. BTMs, you actually control the marketing. You control the audience. Right. Which is amazing.
Right. So I love it because now I'm thinking is like, you got, and I said this earlier, you got people who are working a 9 to 5. They're looking for a side hustle. They're looking for additional income. You have an entrepreneur who's working too much inside of the business and needs a different way to start bringing in money. They can do the ATM business, right?
They can
still, and then that requires some small capital. They could do the BTMs, the Bitcoins, and that requires an investment. But now you become a business partner. Right, and as being a business partner, you're able to have this business and start cash flowing and making money based on the location, right?
So not only based off of the location, but you also have us. We manage the actual marketing aspect. We manage the cash fulfillment. We manage the crypto fulfillment. We manage the tech installation. Wow. We literally have clients in Los Angeles. People in Los Angeles, they got money, man. I mean, it takes money to live there. Let's keep it real, right? And but they own BTMs in Florida. They own BTMs in Texas. They have several BTMs. So essentially, I mean, anyone can do this. It's a great way to diversify your funds. And then also, the return on investment is phenomenal based on the investment that you're making, okay? For real estate, like I said, you have to invest 20, 30, 40, 50,000. What if you can invest that instead of making $300 to $500 off of one tenant, you can make anywhere between $1,000 to $6,000 a month. It's a game changer. Oh, it opens your eyes. You're like, whoa, I need to do more. Absolutely. So essentially, that's what it is. It becomes very addicting. We have massive social proof already. Like I said, we have over 300 clients, and we have locations popping off like that. What I recommend is always do.
You help them find the locations though too.
We do it all.
Wow.
We do it all, man. So I built literally infrastructure. It's very complex.
Right.
We got call centers. We have the customer service team. We have logistics. We have a BTM warehouse out here in Atlanta.
Wow.
Yeah, I was just there earlier today before I did another podcast. But yeah, man, we're all over and we're not stopping.
And so what are the risks involved, right? Because this sounds awesome, right? Because this is literally the solution to a lot of what people are asking for, right? Like a side hustle that allows, gives it. I know somebody watching this right now could use an extra $13,000 a month.
They're like,
all right, how do I sign up, right? But what risks are involved, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like every business, there's always a risk. You as an entrepreneur, you as an investor, you always want to look and see what is the minimal risk that an investment is going to be for you. So for BTMs, essentially it is the wait time on the actual nurture of the location. Because let's say a liquor store, for example, you put a fresh BTM on there. Can you expect transactions to automatically happen like that? I'm going to tell you flat out, no. You might get lucky. we've had clients make like $1,500
Wow.
like within a week. They're like, yes,
Right,
like,
right, right,
and
right.
they're just flowing, man. Like, it
Absolutely.
just happens to be that somebody walks into the business
Yeah.
and they use it, and I mean, they're pumped, right?
Right.
And that's great for, online marketing and social proof.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I like to run off transparency because these clients, trust me, I have more than one business now because I've been able to hire employees. I hired, my previous friend who was a sergeant of police. Now he's my COO.
Wow.
He by him being the CEO of my company, he not only now, like, he's like, dude, I should have been an entrepreneur like
A
all my
long
life.
time ago.
But
I
not only
waited too
that,
long, yeah.
but he's been able to 30x his income.
Wow.
Just off of
30x.
30x. And that's
Wow.
just, essentially believing in your friend or, your business partner and just going with it. And essentially it's the vision.
Yeah.
So the same clients that have purchased ATM packages, they've also purchased BTM packages.
Wow.
I just launched a new offer, which this will be on another, podcast,
Yeah.
but with residuals with credit card machines. And that's network your net worth, man.
Wow.
I literally met a couple of great entrepreneurs, 9-figure entrepreneurs from Los Angeles,
Right.
the mid-merchant services industry, and dude, oh my God, when I could tell you we could do remote credit card machines for anyone in the United States,
Wow.
that's the new venture. That in itself became a 7-figure business within 5 weeks of launch. Launched it solo, went back to my roots, startup.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll be back, guys.
Yeah.
And literally made that happen. Now hired a CEO actually from Atlanta. Has heavy experience with digital marketing himself. So right now he's just building the systems.
Wow.
And we're getting that flowing. But the same clients that have purchased the ATM packages, purchased the BTM packages.
Right.
And they're like, wait, Paul's creating another company?
Right.
What is this?
I want in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They buy into that. And guess what? Now, third company's coming, but it's more for business owners that want to scale their business.
Yeah.
So essentially, it doesn't stop, man.
Yeah.
Serial entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You got to go diversify, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly what I do.
Wow.
But I go with 2 different options usually for folks.
Wow.
Because I like to provide value.
Absolutely.
Is number 1, even though it's a boring business, might not be the sexiest business
Right,
in the world,
right.
it makes money.
Absolutely.
Simple.
Absolutely.
Or 2,
And it's not time like
it's not time consuming.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I tell people. So essentially, when you look at the risk, to go back to that main question,
Yeah.
okay? If a location doesn't work out, you just have to wait a few months for us to relocate that BTM to another location.
Okay.
And that's it. That's the risk that you take.
Yeah.
It's just your urgency
Right.
to make the money. As long as you know you're in it for the longevity,
Right.
this will be for you. This will be the right fit because it's exactly like real estate. Real estate, we don't get buying rental properties and we're going to be instant millionaires.
Right, yeah.
No, essentially, what I can tell you right now, okay, from the time that I was still busting my butt, working 9 to 5, 60 to 100-hour work weeks, and investing in real estate. The reason why I was investing into real estate at that time is because that's all I knew.
Yeah.
That's all I knew.
Yeah.
But essentially, it didn't make me rich. Yeah, my net worth was up there because the value of the property, even though I had debt, right? Now that I have a little bit of money, I'm able to spend a little bit more on rental properties and all that jazz, but to keep more, right? Because you get taxed more as you make more.
Absolutely, yeah.
But what I tell people is essentially when you are starting a business, you're looking to cash flow, you're looking to make an additional source of income. Look into a business that's gonna cash flow.
Right.
Not something like real estate where you're gonna put a chunk of money
Right.
and not really cash
just
flow
dead
that
asset
much.
that's just sitting there.
Exactly. And I get it. I'm gonna get bashed by a lot of real estate gurus and influencers, but they're gonna say, no, real estate's the way.
Yeah.
It is. It is the way. It's a longevity play though. It's a very longevity play. Most people are not willing to wait.
Right.
And that's what we give them. That's what we give them. We give them a business in a box that instantly cash flows.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between us. We promote our clients 24/7. That's all we do.
Wow.
I don't talk about myself, man. I could care less about promoting myself. I don't use social media for personal.
Right.
None of that. It's just straight business and to actually contact my clients, my mentees, and of course, business associates.
Yeah. And so if you're choosing between ATMs and real estate, you're choosing ATMs all day.
All day.
All day.
All day.
Yeah.
Essentially, this is what I tell people. My whole strategy, what I was able to create for me is a nice network of different businesses, diversified, is I started with the ATMs to cash flow to the point where it was at. And I used that cash flow to invest into other assets like real estate.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And you could do it the other way around.
Yeah.
But you're going to use a lot of your time doing the real estate gig.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love it. And so you have a a community. You have a free masterclass that you want our insiders to be a part of. Talk to us a little bit about your masterclass.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm actually going ahead and I'm teaming up with my good friend Nehemiah Davis. He does event spaces. He's a digital marketing great guy overall.
He's an Inside the Vault alumni.
Exactly, great guy, man. I always have to say what's up to Neo.
Yeah.
And we are actually going to be doing we're still deciding whether it's going to be a 5-day challenge or whether it's going to be a humongous masterclass. Yeah. But it's going to be called the BTMmastery.com, guys. Yeah. BTM, don't forget that. BTMmastery.com, where you are actually going to learn regarding investing into Bitcoin ATMs, cash ATMs, and other investments as well. I'm bringing a lot of people with a lot of knowledge. Your network is your net worth.
100%.
I mean, I'm a big believer in that.
Yeah, 100%.
And we're about executing.
Yeah, so. Yeah. And this is important. Definitely we'll have the link down and below so you can also join. But it's important also to, hear about the different opportunities that are out there, right? When you think about, when the gold rush happened, right? And there was opportunity, it was those who kind of jumped on the gold rush at the time that took advantage of it. When the .com boom happened, right? It was those who were right, at the crust of this opportunity. And so you always want to, just be aware, right? Understand what's going on in the world right now. What are the different opportunities? It's intriguing to me, especially like you said, from an ATM perspective. It is a low barrier to entry, right?
Very low.
And so when you're talking $2,100, when you're talking $3,000, you're talking about literally $5,000 investment that could help you cash flow. And look, if you're avid insider, we've had many shows that talked about how to get access to capital. So even if you don't have the money, we have shows that you could go back to where we're teaching you about how to fix your credit, how to create an LLC, how to get money from a bank, right? And let's say you liquidate a credit card at $30,000. Now you got enough to get your 6 ATMs and now create that cash flow for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I've had so many clients. I have over 2,500 clients across the board from cash ATMs and BTMs total. And I've had a good amount of them actually use zero interest credit cards.
Wow, yeah.
One of the ones that I used in the very beginning was, and here's some free value for you guys, is the American Express Blue Cash credit card. Zero interest for 12 months. Yeah. That's going to get you enough to actually buy your business in a box, start cash flowing within 40 to 60 days, and then you could just pay it off as you go. Wow. Now, the great part about this, guess what? Once you start your LLC, I'm pretty sure you said this in your other podcast, is that it's a write-off.
Absolutely.
It's a write-off.
Yeah.
So it's going to help you with your taxes, guys. Yeah. And that's a lot of value right there.
All right, y'all. Listen, I need y'all to tap in with Paul, tap in with Neo. Y'all got to check out the masterclass. They're going to teach you everything you need to know about the ATM business, about the BTM business, and really just add another investment, something to your portfolio. Whether you have a portfolio or whether you're just getting started, this is at least, at minimum, something to check out, something to just see if it's if it makes sense for you. If somebody wanted to connect with you, where can they find you?
Yeah, absolutely, guys. You guys could follow me on IG, Instagram.
He's on IG, y'all. Let's go.
On Instagram, guys, Paul Alex Espinoza. It's basically my full name. And then you can also check out the website, www.atmtogether.com. And don't forget, BTM Mastery, guys. It's coming up in the next few weeks. Hope to see you guys there. We're going to be dropping so much value for you guys and some free resources as well.
All right, y'all. BTM Mastery. Tap in with Paul, Alex. Yo, we are closing out the vault. Another awesome episode of Inside the Vault with Ash Cash, the greatest money mindset show on the planet. Listen, make sure you visit us. Go to our website, InsideTheVaultShow.com. Need you to like, subscribe. Need you to rate, review, all of that good stuff. Me, I am Ash Cash. Make sure you follow me. IamAshCash.com. Follow me on all social media platforms at I am Ash Cash. And again, make sure y'all join the abundance community. You know, we got Paul behind the scenes giving us some more gems that he didn't drop on the show. So make sure y'all tap in. I'm gonna see y'all next time, same same place, in God's will.